Well, thank you so much for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're on to This Morning on ITV. And right here in Lagos, Nigeria, just so many things to talk about, especially regarding the back off and counter reaction and reaction from Peter Obi's New Year message that has sparked a whole lot of controversy online regarding the current administration. Welcome on board. I am Anu Stevens. Well, the former Anambra State Governor, Mr. Peter Obi, has denied the allegations of inciting Nigerians with his New Year message, which he insisted was intended to address pressing national issues. Well, Obi said on Monday via X that he had received threats to his life and family following the message, and described the accusations as part of a broader attempt to silence critical voices in the country. Have I really crossed the line? Mr. Obi did ask in my New Year message, has now led to threats against my life. He says, and I quote, "My family and of course those around me. While I have received a lot of messages, one from Mr. Felix Morka has gone further to accuse me of crossing the line and as one that I will face the consequences," Peter Obi did say on his X handle. Now, moving forward, Felix Morka and the APC has come out to say, well, there's no threat to Peter Obi's life whatsoever. He didn't mean it that way because he came out on the national TV to categorically say that Peter Obi crossed the line and whatever he sees moving forward, he should take it. But he has come out to counter the allegation, saying he was taken out of context and there is no threat whatsoever. Well, let's take you back to Abuja, where Peter Obi said so many things in his New Year message.
Economic and security situation of our country is worsening daily, despite contrary positions and claims by the government of improvement in all spheres of human endeavor. Our national challenges are visibly worsening. Our nation and its fortunes are in clear reverse. The indices are clearly indicative of our decline. Thus, Nigeria remains one of the poverty capitals of the world, with over 100 million in extreme poverty and more than 150 million in multi-dimensional poverty. The situation has deteriorated significantly in the past 18 months under the current administration.
Right now, to dissect this and a whole lot more is a public affairs analyst, Otumba Kennedy, or Kenny Odugbemi, right here in the studio. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to members of Independent Television. It's always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much.
Of course, a happy New Year to you. I feel like this is the first time we're seeing this year.
This is the first time. Thank you.
Interesting. Now let's go back to the matter on ground. What do you make? I'm sure you've listened to his message, which actually lasted for 30 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. What do you make of everything that he has said? Do you think he was constructive in his message and, being honest as well?
Thank you very much. I would like to salute his courage. I would like to salute his magnanimity. I would like to salute his audacious way with which he came out to share his mind. And before we go on, I just want us to recap, highlight of what he said, which I'm now going to pick one by one. He maintained that tax is a function of productivity, which is normal. He even said he wonder how low-income earners, he cites example of Almajiris and quite a lot of people, how would they be able to pay tax if they're not working. He lamented about the unemployment. He complained about food insecurity. He even spoke about out-of-school children, which he said they sample about 1,005 that they are not in school. Then the next thing, he wonder how government can achieve 15% inflation. Then he even, explicitly maintained certain his own mind concerning the issue of insecurity. And one thing that is germane that I like about him, he said there's a need for us to have a collective effort to solve this problem. And also, he's now saying now that calling for more honesty, transparency, justice, and equity. Those are fine ones. That's what I'm saying. If you look at what I've itemised, out of all the 8 items that I've summarized what he has done, I agree totally with the 7 and 8, which means to seek collective effort, because Nigeria is our own. Collectively, we're going to make Nigeria what we believe Nigeria should be. Then secondly, there's a need for us to be very transparent. There's a need for us to be honest. There's a need for us to have equity and fairness. But however, you see, those analyses he gave are analyses from Nigerian, any Nigerian that come on board, maybe any Nigerian leader who does not have a political connotation. That is, he is a Nigerian that freely expresses his mind. He's not involved in politics. But for somebody who is a political juggernaut, for somebody who has aspired to be president of this nation, who had contested an election, I think we deserve more from him.
Okay.
We deserve more from him in the sense that we expect him to move higher from somebody who has managed in terms of, he has managed a state for 8 years. He had a lot of information concerning the national issue. We expect him to be able to come out with framework. For instance, I see what he has said as lacking in concrete solution. There's no concrete solution he gave. As a leader of that level, if you analyze a problem, you have, at least you'll be able to substantiate with solution. Secondly, what I see is that there's no call for action.
Hold on, just to call you short a little bit. But speaking about solution, I know towards the end of his message, he also spelled out a couple of solutions as well to everything that he mentioned. For instance, he said cut the cost of governance, reduce foreign trips, travel to all 36 states in the country, and so many other things. He also said to the president that he should visit medical centers in the country to see what Nigerians are facing. Now, with all of those things that you have mentioned, is there anything wrong with what he said?
What he has said is like having a personal discussion. You understand? I'm talking of real national issue. For instance, if you want, it's like he has spoken like any leader, any other leaders of thought that is not involved in politics. But we're talking of somebody who is involved in national affairs. I expect more. If somebody like me, who is not a politician, comes to that, it's understandable. What he says is understandable. But for everything he said, to the best of my knowledge, he has just laid the foundation for the APC government to be able to react. Because he has not provided any concrete solution. Because talking about cost of governance, everybody has been saying cost of governance. Is that not so? That how can you say president should move and spend 2 days? He need not stay in 2 days. He's going there in 2 days. Because, for instance, there is a lot of framework that is on ground. We have commissions, Southeast, Southwest, and he has so many special assistants who are there. I believe now that technology has changed a lot of things. We don't have to live in the past. You don't have. That's why I say he needs to reinvent his approach. Technology has outfaced his own approach of God. Look, government, president can stay anywhere he is, and he will be able to see every part of this Nigeria. That is what the technology is all about. It's only when there's a problem he will be able to go. That's why I'm saying now that there's no call for action. Because when you cannot profess, look, if you say cost of governance, we all know why we know we have a problem with cost of governance. We know the recurrent expenditure, we know the capital expenditure. Secondly, for instance, he focused more openly with a lot of sentiment on challenges. We all know that Nigeria will have challenges. Every Nigerian knows we have challenges. Is it the challenges we want to, for somebody who wants to aspire to be a president? I want to believe that if I aspire to be a president, I will only, I will state the challenges, and I will state a contemporary solution for every challenge, not a general solution. I will talk from an informed perspective, which I'm going to talk now. And also, if you come out to say out of school children, you only what sample from there's no data to substantiate what he has just said. I'm talking of somebody who wants to become president, to manage the affair. I expect more from him. Unlike what he has just said, he has shared a general knowledge.
Right. So interestingly, we are not in the electioneering period, but I would still ask, do you think his moves are actually political? Is it a sort of politicking going on right now on his own part?
He is more political than the zeal to have a positive change. Why I said the political is this. I must say that I'm not a politician. There are a lot of write-up I do that, and I see a reflection of what happened in the society. Let's stop politicking. For instance, at that level of allow, most of the opposition party in Nigeria, they are giving strength to the party. In fact, the more they come out without any concrete solution, the more they give the strength to APC. And also, the polity is high. Everybody is becoming very emotional. Moka was just pure, it was just a pure emotion that he said that he has crossed the line. You will see that we should be able to separate when somebody is being real rather than being emotional. He himself also told the line of saying threat to my life. You understand? When you are in politics, there are languages that are synonymous with political discussion, which we know. But at the end of the day, everybody at that age now has intelligence network that surround him. So what we're saying is, don't let us catch, look, enough of this sentiment.
But
let us say the reality.
So you said something regarding emotional interest and all. But if we were to have a flip side of this, and it's somebody else talking about the president and saying the kind of things that Felix Moka said to Peter Obi, don't you think the reaction would have even been, worse, sort of, or heightened? I think that's the right word.
Let me be frank with you. More, in fact, they've said more worse things concerning this government.
No, right, hold on a second. Let's give you an instance of what happened with Dele Faritimi. We saw how that panned out in the country. And not more, we saw what happened to the lady that said something regarding Sheyi Tinubu. We saw how she got arrested and all. It also boils down to the issue of freedom of expression and freedom of speech as well. So do you think you're right with what you've said regarding emotional blackmail?
Let me tell you, what he did was pure emotional blackmail. There's a different, the clear-cut difference is hate speech. Hate speech, you understand, has attract consequences. If you look at what you say, Dele Famuroti, it was an attack. It was an attack on the person of Babalola, a criminal attack. Even though we know it's a civil, but it has a criminal tendency. The other one that is a threat to his life. This one, it is a political talk. He has crossed the line. He has crossed the line is a language of emotion, because you have to study the body language of what he's talking, and it's because of accumulated thought process about him. If I'm talking, if I have accumulated thought process about something, emotionally you react. But you say when you come like that, there's a way you reply such a thing. If somebody told me that kind of it, I would have asked more questions. Which line did I cross? You need to come. You don't need to be emotional. If you give what somebody give you, you understand? To the best of my knowledge, you are not better than the person. It should be an inquiry. If he is saying that to his life, if Moka is saying, where did I cross line? Let us engage ourselves. We are not Nigeria. So some set of people are more matured other than cheap sentiment and blackmail. We are saying that let us discuss the real issue or problem of Nigeria. It doesn't mean I'm supporting everything that as time goes on, you will see now that I'm not supporting totally what's happening in this administration. And I will give fact and figure where I'm not supporting, where they should do. For instance, he lay claim in one of his said, he said he's waiting for how they will achieve 15% inflation. The possibility is huge. In fact, Dr. Tomori actually gave analysis of how we can achieve 15%. The question is this: how is the problem? The policy implementation. How is what I'm against? You understand? The cost of government, I'm also against. We are saying. And also the the capacity, the ministerial capacity, less than 50% are actually the value is known. Those are fall within the mainframe, and the president is saying the box start on my table. So let's begin to criticize what we believe is not in order, and let's be analytic. There's no emotion. I'm not a politician. If I'm going to analyze, I'll analyze based on facts and figure.
Now, one of the things Peter Obi highlighted is the plight of opposition party in Nigeria. He said, and I quote, that it's actually difficult to oppose the current administration. He also went further to say, to talk about the democratic climate. He went ahead to say how he has also affected being an opposition party in Nigeria has also affected him, his family, his business. Nobody wants to say hi to him. Nobody wants to do business with him simply because he's in opposition, to this current administration. And there's also another agenda setting that says that this current administration is working towards having a one-party state.
My dear sister, let's be frank. It is mere cheap blackmail. Because this government is all inclusive. I know many people in SDP all other parties that are doing fantastically well by virtue of their relationship. I do not support it. For instance, I will give you Intel was returned back to Atiku. Yes. Buhari did not, there was a council of, they cancelled the contract. But now he's being returned to it. Is it not an opposition? I do not agree with that. That is one of those blackmailers. You see, the way you position yourself is the way people will attend to you. There's no point. Then let's remove emotion let's be real in what we're doing. Let's be objective. I, for instance, I have been as an individual. I critique what government is doing. And there's a freedom of expression, provided you have fact and figure, not emotional. All my discussion are not pure. I'm not emotional in what I'm saying. I'm going to analyze the budget, and I'm going to say precisely what is wrong. You understand? And I also give instances and solutions to it. That means that we want a progressive nation, not a retrogressive nation. It is not by force you must be a president. I don't have to be a president to be able to contribute to Nigeria. I've been contributing to Nigeria in terms of in terms of writing papers and everything. Yet I'm not a politician. I discuss freely on TV since 1999. I am not a politician at all. And most of all those things is reflecting in what they are doing across the subnational. So let's come to a point that we have to be patriotic about Nigeria. We have to, if we want to be an opposition, let's be a veritable opposition. Let's hold the current administration accountability. Let's hit the nail on the head. Let's provide concrete data, concrete solution.
Speaking about accountability, well, some persons in some school of thought actually believes that that is what Peter Obi is doing regarding everything he has said so far. You know, some of the things he also mentioned, he stated facts and figures, just as Otumba has been saying here, that according to the National Bureau of Statistics, a lot of Nigerians cannot even afford a daily meal. A lot of Nigerians, 100 million Nigerians, over 100 million Nigerians are living below, you know, the poverty line. We now have multi-dimensional poverty in Nigeria. Well, we'll look at the other side of all of this conversation right after this break. So much for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're onto This Morning on ITV from our Lagos studio. We have been analyzing Peter Obi's New Year messages, which, you know, currently has 11 key advices he actually gave to, or advice rather, he actually gave to Tinubu in the 2025 New Year message. I still have my guest with me in the studio, Otumba Kenny Ojugbemi. Now, we're going to begin to start analyzing some of the things he categorically did mention. Now, let's start with the tax.
Thank you very much. I give kudos to him for the fact that what he said about tax is a function of productivity is very correct. But when we now relate it to current tax reform, I don't think it's correct. I don't think it's correct that in the sense that there is no time for us to adopt that tax reform. The time is now. First, the tax reform is talking about there is improved productivity now. Let me be frank with you. There's improved productivity. If you look at our export is higher than before. Export is slightly higher than though we can say it's because of our devaluation we're talking about. But Nigeria are becoming productive. A lot of people are doing a lot of businesses. You understand? But we categorize them into different stages. There is this high net worth individual, there's a middle class, there's a lower class. It is the lower class we have quite a lot of people, and we know where we're coming from. We know, I'm not giving excuses for this government. I'm saying now that, for instance, the tax exemption we're 50 is the people, well-to-do people that you pay more tax. So there's no way we can continue to do less than 2% of our net worth that are paying the correct tax. How can government be able to do? We are talking about the compliance level. The compliance level, we're saying they are just targeting 20%. If they up the compliance, if everybody complies, we have enough money to do what we're going to do. The job creation we're talking about is going to create about 50,000 jobs. And come to think of it, if we talk about unemployment, I agree that when you look, the unemployment has been rated now. Unlike before, we say 33%, but it's one in every four, which we're saying 1 in every 4. The question now is this: the federal government, he has concentrated more. He has concentrated more on federal government. It's not the entire government network employ less than 2 million people. What is the population of the youth we are talking about? The population of the youth we are talking about is about 65 to 70% of the population. So we are talking about, if you can see, this is the normal. The question we should do is this: what is the where I fault him is that he should also have a word for the subnational. And in Nigeria, to the best of my knowledge, The subnational we're having, we have 36 states, only 4 states that are viable. For instance, despite the increase in the monthly allocation by virtue of the source subsidy, we have not seen any meaningful progress across some states. Only 4. So the question now is this: the government only do call tertiary intervention. There is tertiary intervention from the government, secondary intervention from the local government. As of today, local government is almost, we don't even know, come sir. Secondary intervention is only limited to 4 states. I give kudos to Mba, that governor of Enugu State. Those are the people we need to talk. We need to balance the network we're talking about.
Now let's still fall back to a lot of the things that he said. He said so many things, by the way, but this part says food insecurity has become our new national norm, making Nigeria one of the hungriest countries in the world. He went also ahead to say the newly approved minimum wage of 70,000 naira cannot afford a bag of rice or even half bag of beans, and as a result, many Nigerians go to bed hungry.
To the best of my knowledge, let me tell you, it is the quality of food. It's not possible for somebody to be going to bed hungry almost on a daily basis. That is not true.
But we saw what happened in Ibadan.
Hold on,
Abuja.
I will tell you. It is true. People, what happened in Ibadan is entitlement mentality. And it's also because of poverty. Everybody, if what happened in Ibadan happened almost everywhere. It's not only Ibadan. It happened in Lagos. Look, let me tell you, Nigerians have entitlement mentality. I agree with what will happen. The problem we have was as a result of what we inherited, and why this present government cannot talk much about what they look. Ways and means is over 30-something trillion, and they are even mortgages over 40 years. So I agree totally, but it's not that look, the price of food has gone down a little bit. We have a lot of intervention in there's a lot of budgeting agriculture. People have been sensitized. The only thing I'm saying is that what has resulted into food insecurity is because of insecurity. This insecurity is man-made. The Boko Haram is man-made. You understand? The sit at home in the southeast, is it the government that caused it? Sit at home in the southeast, is it the government that? So what we should do is we should go into the root cause of why we don't have it. If there is no insecurity, farmers will be able to go. I expect him to say, yes, we have food insecurity because of the insecurity as a result of Boko Haram, and also we've been canvassing. I expect a germane contribution in the sense that let us restructure security interfaces. We have been talking of regional policing. We are talking of state policing. We are talking of community policing. If we have such structure, we will limit the undue interference of these people. These are the what I expect to be saying. Because if we continue to lament, we will go in lamentation. Food insecurity is because farmer cannot go to farm. For instance, there's a kind of subvention over 500 billion have been voted. People have got anchor borrowers fund is there. A lot of intervention has gone into it. Farmers have said quite a lot of people are even expected abroad. They're dollars. We have a list of many farmers are earning dollar. Anchor borrower fund the involved of 2.something trillion where it is. So what we're saying is let's go to where we have problem. No, let's stop lamentation. People have been encouraged to own a farm. In my place, I'm a community leader. We advise people to own a farm, plant vegetable, do this, and they're doing it. We might say we've not come to a point, not because we should. What my own is, we should not continue to lament of situation. We should provide solution. The solution is like this: let us continue to hammer on what is due. Look, people will have their say, government will have their way. But when the people continue to say something, when we all come, look. How often are we at that? Every state has their own house of assembly. They have their own governor. They have their own local. What contribution has this leader made in the particular state? What contribution have they made in the house? Because if you are saying you are making it, has he gone to the house to make presentation and say they will not allow him? Let's be frank. Has he gone to the House of Representatives by virtue of his position to give a paper? They say no. In the Institute of Strategic Study, the question is, let us stop lamentation. Right. If truly we want to hold this nation, let us do it without any recall. I'm contributing not because I want to be. I'm not absolutely. A politician, and I can never be one.
Speaking about, stopping lamentation, just as I did say the other time, he did spell out some solutions that he feels the administration of the current, as the current administration, Tinubu should actually do. And some of the things he said was endeavor to travel by road to observe the condition of most of our highways. You can take short trips, for example, from Calabar in Cross River State to Uyo in Akwa Ibom State, a distance of not less than 100 kilometer, and also from Benin to Warri as well.
Why would you expect president to travel on the when there's a minister of works that is in charge of the people? Why would the most president go when president have when the council of state that we have governors coming to report? Why must you go when we have a kind of geosatellite space planning that you can see? Let me tell you, on your seat, you can view every road that is happening. So I'm saying now that let us be objective in what they're doing. Manual way of doing it. That's what I'm saying. Let us move forward. Technology has outfaced some of the solution is taken about. You need not leave if the president wants to see every road in Nigeria, there's what we call geospatial mapping. He can see the road. But he can see the road across it, and also he holds council of state with the governor. He holds minister, the federal minister of work. There is even state minister of work. What are they doing? Is it by president going there that will be able to give a match? Is he expecting the president to begin micromanage? No. You see, the management leadership has gone beyond old archaic way where somebody has to be president. No. If somebody is not, for instance, has he given a concerning the road, are he forwarded a report to Minister of Works, to identify where there's problem? Has he copied the Federal Executive Council, what he has just said, and they did attend to him? He's not coming to lament on the, I also went through. Yes, there are problems in the nation, but it's not for us to lament as if we would do. Look, let me tell you, many people who lament, they can be better. They can do better than what we're talking about. But what I'm saying, the government has a problem, and I will analyze the problem in clear terms, which is very in clear terms, and we'll see things.
So what are the problems?
Now, if you look at it carefully, one of the problems that we have in this country is that we continue to increase the budget of defense, and yet insecurity persists. The insecurity now, the budget we have for it now is around 4.91 trillion. The infrastructure we have is 4.06 trillion. For health, we are going for 2.48 trillion. Education, which is the solid bedrock of the fund, is 3.52. The problem I see now is that the debt servicing is over 13 trillion. If you add everything, it's not up to 13 trillion. We're going to be doing debt servicing higher than all those things that you'll have guaranteed life. Is that not a problem? The recurrent expenditure of the present administration, because of the bloated structure they had, is about 26.7, which is 55.57 of the entire budget. That is a problem to me. If you look at the capital expenditure, 13.7, which is 28.6, this is how can you be spending more on recurrent? It means that almost all the borrowing we're using it to do recurrent expenditure, which is not adding value. For instance, the entire ministerial setup, we talk about diversification. What are Ministry of Mineral Resources yielded for us? And yet, each ministry spend more than 2 billion. What are steel development yielded for us? What is the creative art yielded for us? We're saying now that marine technology, what have they contributed to meaningfully to us? The question is, I know, we have a revenue projection of about 36.6. If you look at it, the budget deficit is half, is 50% of the revenue projection. And also, it's 30% of the entire budget. The entire budget is 49.7.
Now,
problem.
Right, to Colston, with all of these things, should Nigerians be optimistic about this year?
Now, Nigeria can a lot of open opportunity for us. Just look, we know the problem of this administration. We know it's more political than what we expect, but that doesn't mean we should lose hope. There are a lot of foreign investors coming in. For instance, by virtue of our interaction, and the Saudi government has invested about 1.2 billion in Olam. Olam will increase its capacity. It will create more jobs. Is that also? There are a lot of people coming into it. For instance, President of German came, and they've been able to support us for power. What we're saying is this: we have problem. We should begin to suggest solution. As far as I'm concerned, let them unbundle this power. The minister there is not performing. What we're saying is this: now, they have given the rule. The power must move from exclusive list to concurrent list. We should begin to talk to subnational to come on. Aba is on board. Every state should generate their power so that we go have a continuous collapse. You understand? What we're saying is let's attack the way do. We have not, for instance, grid continue to collapse. Why must government continue to manage the transmission? It is time for us to unbundle. Those are the critical area I want us to do. Because when they have power, when you can stabilize power, it means it will have energy to increase the productive capacity of the nation. And everybody must contribute. There are other alternative sources of. We shouldn't be waiting for. There's a biogas. There's a coal in Enugu. What is happening to the governor in Enugu? Not to involve coal as a means of supply. In the north, you have solar. Why are we waiting? Why is the subnational not performing? So I agree of the certain gap within the framework. Okay. The federal government only have 52% of the budget, 48% of subnational. What are they doing with the increase? Even with the issue of the tax reform, they're going to be having. The question is, if the subnational are working, how do you achieve results?
We really need to go now, but I really must thank you, Otumba Kenny Odegbemi, a public affairs analyst, for gracing our studio today. Thank you so much. Well, with all of those things that has been said and done, let's just hope the Nigerians truly, be optimistic in this year, just as the president tagged this year's budgets of restoration. Thank you for joining us this morning. I am Anu Stevens.